Bob writes about it. Jim talks about it. But Chuck did something about it.
Foreman on a big hole across the 10. He's something else. He's out in touchdown land. He's something else, baby.
Now, here's longtime columnist Bob Sansevier, Fox 9's Jim Rich, and the great number 44,
Double 4.
Chuck Foreman.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Jimbob Sports Jamboree with Vikings legend Chuck Foreman. And we are also joined by the superstar, Mike Morris. This show is presented by 10K Construction. Minnesota is the land of 10K Construction. And it is also brought to you by Experience Maple Grove. Now, this is a great way to go. It's MEA weekend, so you're looking for something to do with the kids, but you really don't want to get on an airplane. How about going to Maple Grove? At first you go, what? Maple Grove? But no, Maple Grove is pretty cool because right now, if you book a room for this weekend, you'll get a $75 gift certificate in restaurant gift cards. So there you go. You can hang out in the restaurant capital of Minnesota. You get $75 to eat, drink, have a good time, watch some football, maybe some Vikings Lions this weekend. So that's just a good way to start your weekend. Mr. Foreman, we are coming off the bye week, but here comes the biggest game of the season to date.
Right.
The Detroit Lions, the team that is right on the heels of the Vikings and a team that destroyed Mike Zimmer's defense last Sunday.
Yeah, well, he certainly did destroy that defense. And, of course, Detroit the last few years has become one of the top teams in the NFL. Of course, our team wasn't even ranked in our own conference. We were last. So now we're, ranked up higher than, we thought we'd be and against a real physical, talented football team. So this is going to be the biggest challenge the Vikings had so far this year.
All right, what do you think of this Lions group, Mike? What have you seen? I mean, they were taunting Dallas. They were sending out linemen. They were just trying to stick it in their face.
And they got it done, too. I mean, just think the two Thanksgiving Day teams, if they could just square out for Thanksgiving and get it done on Thanksgiving, but it's too late now. Right. What matters is this. They put it on the Dallas Cowboys, and they are very, like Chuck said, they're very physical. I mean, that's the Dan Campbell's standard, and that's the way he wants them to play, obviously. He's changed the entire culture. I mean, the offensive line is big, tough, athletic, D-line, linebacker, you name it. I mean, he's got a big, physical team that can run. And not just regular-sized guys, big guys running, okay? So they've got some of the best tackles on the offensive line in the NFL. And they got a special quarterback, too. So it's a great team. It's a very good team. They
totally humiliated the Cowboys.
That's what I'm saying.
They humiliated them. I mean, you could see the Cowboys. They got to have a gut check, don't you think?
I agree.
From what I saw in that
yes.
game, I didn't see any guys that wanted to,
get involved
and win that game the way they needed to. I mean, they were afraid to tackle. I mean, from what I saw, they weren't, they just got beat up.
That was a good old-fashioned ass whipping right there now. That's what that was. And they didn't have any answer for it.
Nothing.
And it was like they just wanted to get out of the stadium, and it didn't go home. But I don't think I've seen Dallas deflated like that in a long time. Like literally demoralized.
I'm glad to see them deflated.
Yeah.
Well,
too.
And he kind of pointed it out that this is Campbell's attitude, and he wants his players to play like that.
Right.
And last year, of course, they lost late in the year because of the tackle or the offensive lineman that the referee said didn't report as eligible. So on the very first play of the game, that tackle went right to the referee to report he was eligible right out of the game. I think he did it on the opening kickoff, just to drive the point home. And a lot of this is about attitude, isn't it? I mean, when a team gets that feeling about itself, you can have great players, and all of a sudden they can go to another level.
Certainly can, and that's a reflection pretty much of the head coach and all the people he has around. Even our, we had John Michaels.
Wow.
He was like a real, what would you call him?
I consider him.
He wasn't that big of a guy, but boy, he get in those guys' faces, and he was just aggressive. And even though Jerry,
Now, he was your offensive line coach,
he was the
correct?
offensive line coach, but I mean that whole package. When you have the coaches, Bud Grant had a good mixture of coaches, attitudes and things like that. And he had the guys like Jerry Burns and John Michaels of my time, and then the players that he had around them and that could respond to him, and they were all smart players. They never made any stupid mistakes, because if you did, you weren't around. All those little things, special teams was a priority. It wasn't, if you did one great thing for Bud, you'd be on that team, but you better do that one thing that you did great all the time. But every little aspect of the football game, he covered. And the guys that he chose to execute those jobs, they came to play every game and every play. And so that's what I see in Detroit right now. They come to play every play.
Yeah, and Mike, you had Viking teams that had it and other ones that were looking for it.
Yeah.
When those teams you were on, like the 98 team, had it, what was it? How did it get there? Did it come
chemistry.
from the coaching staff? Did it come from Denny?
No, it was there were branches off from the head coach. It was kind of good cop, bad cop. I mean, Denny could say what he wanted done in practice, and they would be the bad guys and go out and deliver and give you the attitude. John Michaels, I had him for 3 years. And, I mean, he'd turn his hat around so he could get closer when he was yelling at someone in the face. He'd pull their face mask down and start yelling at the guy in the face and is spitting all over the guy. And I mean, he was tough. Up on his tiptoes. And here this guy was like an all-American offensive lineman at Tennessee and played with the Eagles, I think, for a couple of years. But he was tough. He was really tough. And it has that trickle down. And Denny was tough mentally. He was sharp. He had a great judgment of talent, I thought. And had a lot of things that Bud Grant had, except that silent, stoic way of doing it. Right. But Bud's stoic thing was an extension then into what he wanted to have done by his other coaches, like Chuck said. Right. So we had some tough guys below Denny Green that could throw that out there.
But the players that he had to execute it, though. I mean, when I got here, the Vikings were a very mature team. They were an older team, but and when I got here, it wasn't Bud telling me what I needed to do. It was those players. Hey, this is the way we do things around here. If you can't do it, then you have problems.
That's right.
That's the way it was. And I'm like, okay, I better get in line. So I just got in line, followed all the guys, Dave Osborne, Bill Brown. I knew I was coming to take their place, but they had a lot of knowledge because pretty much I was new to the position, to be quite honest with you, because I played 3 positions in college. So those guys and the kind of people that you have to execute your plan.
Right.
And that's really important. And I see, like I say, this game coming up with Detroit, those guys are totally bought in. I mean, and like you said, we saw that game against Dallas. I mean, Dallas was I never seen them play so horrible. No. And they didn't even want to tackle.
It's incredible the way a team can go to sleep like that with all that money wrapped up, and Jerry Jones trying to figure out the perfect combination and the perfect chemistry. He hasn't had good chemistry around there for a long time.
But you said the right word. Jerry, I think, is the problem.
I do too.
Because the head coach, how are you going to be the head coach, and you're trying to put your team together, give them what they need on the football practice field,
right?
When you got the owner overseeing everything, and he's not the guy putting the game plans together, or trying to motivate the guys,
or know how to put a game plan together.
Or he's not the guy doing any of that. And after the games, or they don't even talk to the head coach. It's like who won the coach there?
Right.
It's almost like an old Al Davis
it's just
thing.
Like but I'm just saying it's accepted now that when the game is, when they lose the game, they don't even talk to the coach. They go to the owner.
It's incredible.
To me, it's like it's different.
You can't wear all the hats around the organization. Just own the team, pay the team, make decisions in the war room and the draft, and you're going to come up big there. Right. But the head coach has to take the
Right.
all the egos on the team and all the different things that have to be handled internally and handle the media without you coming into the media thing. That's why you hire the head coach. He handles the media. He handles all the talent and the chemistry of it.
He's the guy that can come in and tell you exactly what's going on, but you got a guy, he owns the team. That's the one thing, but I want to hear from the coach.
Yeah.
Right.
Not the owner, but it's just like he's got to be, I don't know.
He injects himself
is
into
top dog,
everything.
but you the owner, you the coach. Well, why you got the coach? You just coach the team.
He thinks because he played football at Arkansas with Jimmy Johnson.
Right. But Jimmy didn't stay.
Well, he cut Jimmy. He sent him packing. So
I
it was
think
because
Jimmy left.
Because Jimmy was getting bigger than him.
Of course. That was it. Because he went ahead of the class.
Right. Jimmy went and won all the championships, and he's the one that trust me, everybody that's played for Jimmy Johnson played at 100% every darn play. He was the guy that changed that franchise.
Totally.
And then that was it wasn't going to work because Jimmy was bigger than the owner.
Yeah, no, but there is something. The reason I asked you guys about attitude is that this week Jonathan Grenard spoke to the media and said some very interesting things about how Kevin O'Connell and his staff are training and teaching those guys psychologically. Mm-hmm. And it kind of dawned on him. And we're going to get into that, but we're going to take a break now because we're hooking everybody. And also the Vikings made a trade this week to beef up the running game.
Right.
But we'll discuss that, how much of an addition Cam Akers truly can be, and much more as we continue here on the Jimbob Sports Jamboree, presented by 10K Construction. Minnesota is the land of 10K Construction. You can tell the temperatures are dipping. It's getting chilly. You need to get your house right. Call the guys at 10K Construction. Ask for Jake. He's awesome. He'll get out there. He'll tell you what you need to do to get your house right for the winter, or you can start planning for projects next year. Whatever you want, go to 10kconstruction.com. All right, you're listening to the Jimbob Sports Jamboree with Vikings legend Chuck Foreman. Back after this. Welcome back to the Jimbob Sports Jamboree with Vikings legend Chuck Foreman, the superstar Mike Morris. This show presented by 10K Construction and also by Experience Maple Grove. It's MEA week, so get up there, book a hotel room, and get a $75 gift certificate to a restaurant of your choice. And there are so many in Maple Grove, it is now known as the restaurant capital of Minnesota. All right, the Star, you are brought to us by I think, a place where you could get a vehicle that could take you to Maple Grove.
You're exactly right. You can find 4 wheels there on a truck. You can find 4 wheels on a car, both new and used. If you want a new one, they've got those too. It's in Burnsville.
Oh, okay.
Dodge of Burnsville. Head on down to Dodge of Burnsville. They'll roll out the red carpet. They'll show you all 5 stars. They've got 5 stars on the back wall. They'll bring them out. You can polish them for them. Anyway, but they are the best in the business. Great service department. Great people there to work with in the sales. And say hi to Adam and Mark Saba. They will take good care of you. Let's see, that's 35W.
Okay. Yeah,
and
I've
Cliff
heard of
Road in Burnsville. They'll give you a sticker to put on the back of your car, DOB, Dodge of Burnsville. You'll love that sticker.
I thought that was date of birth, but okay.
Could be. But hey, look, don't confuse me like that. Don't do that. Tell them the superstar sent you down there. I think I might just have a new person to mention right now, too. I'm just going to throw that out there. I think we got something new in the works. It's not a done deal yet, but Ace Hardware. You heard it here first. Ace Hardware coming to the table with the boys. Look out.
I like it. All right. We teased Jonathan Grenard talking this week. He came into the Vikings as a free agent, and media was asking him about being 5-0 and where this team is going and what's the ceiling for this group. And he talked about how the coaching staff and Kevin O'Connell has been reinforcing their message from the beginning. Way back in OTAs, when we first signed here, he told us all this stuff, and he said that what's holding the Vikings back from being a super team is that some guys still, he says it's very hard for an athlete to believe and take it to a next level. And I'm paraphrasing here exactly what he said, but you can see it. It's posted on social media. But it hit me funny is the fact that he was saying, O'Connell's been telling us since week one, we can be Super Bowl champs. Right. We can be the best team in the National Football League. And then each week in those speeches he does when he gives out the game balls after the games. Chuck, you were in and saw the ones that we showed on Vikings post game tonight, Sunday night, 10:35 on Fox 9.
Nice plug.
Thank you.
Shameless.
Yeah, and organic. Yeah. Organic. It just came up out of the blue.
Generic.
But he said that it's a process that players have to understand that the coach just isn't blowing smoke.
Right.
What he is really saying is true. And he says that's a hard thing for athletes to dig in the weeds and really understand that, you know what, he's right.
Well, there's one thing that a player, at least me, or I'm sure Mike, trust in a coach. You got to believe in your coach. And if you believe in your coach and trust in your coach, and that coach is honest with you about everything about you, whether you've done a good job, whether you've done a crappy job, or you need to improve and all those things that you need to be the best that you can be. If you have a coach that can, communicate that with you, and the main thing is being honest with you and committed to you, you can get the best out of anybody. Because there's one thing a player or a player needs and wants is the trust in his coach. He wants to believe in his coach, and if you can get that, your players will go above and beyond what they need to do to be the best that they can be.
I agree with that. I think that the sell that the coach has to have in the meeting rooms, and the night before the game, it has a lot to do with it for you to buy in. You have to buy in, and that's the mental toughness that he's trying to establish, and the believability that he's trying to put out there as a message. Is you got to believe that this can really happen. Well, lucky for Kevin O'Connell, each one of those speeches came with a victory. Right. So they buy into each of the younger guys are going to buy into it each and every week more and more and more now. They got 5 in a row. They're really buying in right now. So whatever he says moving forward, that's just more reinforcement to the victory thing, and that the younger kids, they take to it like, honestly, it's almost like training a dog. It's like, if you don't, if a dog tears up something in the living room, but you didn't see it and you didn't get to it in time to correct him, it wouldn't matter what you said to the dog at that point. Whereas if you catch him in the act, you can say, no or stop, and the dog will look up at you and like, that's no. And the dog will look like, oh, crap, the bet. It's like winning too, though. But after a win, you say, I told you so, I told you so. It's going to keep happening if you just believe in what we're trying to tell you to do all week in practice. It's a conditioned response.
Right, because he was saying that, there's coaches that talk to you, and I'm sure you've had some in your time, probably both of you, that you're like, okay, this guy has no clue. He's just rambling, and a team tunes you out. So I thought Grenard was really, because, we get kind of the same sound every time we're there, but this one really hit me that he's like, we had to figure out, is he blowing smoke or is what he's saying really true?
Right.
And then, as you said, you get the reinforcements of the victories, and then he hammers right back on the points that he said, remember, I told you to do this, you did it, and look what happened.
And you can identify the strong coaches and the weakest one. You can identify, because when you're around them every day, you can see who they really are and how committed they are to the process. And some of them just get the job because they know somebody.
Yep, but nepotism is a good thing.
It's a big thing in the NFL. But the best are able to separate that and bring on board the people that they need to, lack of a better word, incorporate what they want done into their offense and defensive schemes. It's like our defensive coordinator.
Yeah, Brian Flores.
Now, that was one of the best hires they've ever made, because those boys bring it every Sunday. We've already talked about Brian's, background and how he reacted when he was in Miami when they asked him to pretty much throw the season, and he told him where to go. You know,
Yeah.
and he told him where to go, and you know, I can follow him anywhere, simply because I know that he has my back, and that if I do what I need to do, I know I'll get results. You know, because I know he's got that experience, and I know that he's got that commitment to help me be the best that I can be.
Right. And that's what gives me more credence to believe this team can be a special Vikings team. If you're hearing the guys, and like you said, Flores has got a track record.
Right.
O'Connell doesn't, because this is his first kick at the can. We haven't seen him somewhere else. So, you know, the first year that was 13-4, everybody's like, whoa, what's this? And then it fell back last year. But he has maintained apparently the same message throughout. Right. And so now he is building a resume that players are going to say, all right, Minnesota, they've got their S together.
Yeah. And I think that's important that he keeps his message alive and well from the first year. I mean, last year it was the quarterback, musical chairs.
Right.
I mean, he squeezed a few wins out of that. I don't know how he did what he did, really. He had 4 or 5, 6 quarterbacks in, whatever it was. But it just goes to show you that he's got the composure to be able to settle down, get everything straight, get the kind of quarterback he wants in here, and then take off 5-0, believing in what he believes in. And like coaches who don't keep it fresh and keep it like a new point or a new add-on each week, and they use the same lines over again and hoping that'll trigger something again and again with the same thought, and it's just sort of off a conveyor belt. Just mass production, just these little lines, these little cliche lines. Well, let me tell you something. He's going to lose the room after a while.
Right.
He'll lose the room, and they'll say he's full of, and he's saying the same thing over again, hoping we'll go out and win for him. They don't buy in anymore.
Right.
That can happen. Psychologically, you lose the team. So you got to keep it fresh, and he has.
Yeah, it was just interesting. And it was funny that Grenard was like having a revelation, where he's talking to everybody like, you thinking about this. And, he's a veteran. He's a guy that knows what's going on. And so this sounds like this is something that he hasn't heard or experienced in his career when he was with the Texans. Not to burn on the Texans organization, because they've done very well and they're a good football team. But it's something here that all of a sudden is starting to percolate.
Well, even at the Texans, though, they got a new coach and they had to buy into his, program. And so, what you're saying is absolutely true. I mean, it's a process, and it looks like everybody's buying into it, and we'll see this week.
Right, we'll see.
That's a key too.
This is going to be their biggest challenge.
Right, because this weekend I see as a matchup of philosophies and teams that are driven. Because Dan Campbell has pushed his wagon one way, and they're fire-breathing, bite your knee type of guys, and then you have the Vikings that are cerebral, but their defense also will tear your leg off if you give them show them a piece of flesh.
It's going to be interesting.
That's right. And it's important to have that mental toughness when you're coming out of a bye week. Right. Like, what did you do over the bye week? How many days did you let them go for? You might be allowed 7 or 8 days, 9 days, whatever it is now. But did you tell them to come back early, like Denny did? Because he wanted to win going into the bye week and be mentally tough, not to already check your bags aboard your flight and be out of town before you play the game. And then when you come back soft because you just ate and drank and partied the whole time.
Yeah, well, most of the guys, I think most guys, to me, if you're going to win, even though you got that bye week, maybe you could travel if you wanted to. But I think the teams that win on those bye weeks, they might take a day or so just to hang out with the fan, but then they're getting back into it right now. They're going to rest up. They don't have that physical aspect of their week going. But the mental part of it, they can be participating in, looking at film and stuff at home or what. Not film, but now they got
video now. A little video now.
You got your tablet.
Digital,
whatever. They got everything with them 24/7. So that's the difference between winning and losing at any level. And hopefully, from what I've seen from the Vikings so far this year, even when they've struggled offensively, which hasn't been often, but that defense has stepped up and done the job, and here we are undefeated, and
it's unbelievable. Right now, it's the most.
Right now, it's the sky's the limit. They just got to decide how they're going to approach from here on out.
It's unbelievable the way this thing took off. The Darnold thing worked out. We've had great success against teams that we obviously are enemies of, Green Bay being one of those, but some good football teams. San Francisco, anyone you play in the NFL is a good match, but your rivals and some top-notch teams in this league we've played and beaten already. So it has been a perfect script so far. I mean, Darnold's tweaked his knee a little bit, but he had a perfect bye week to come back and get that. So things are working in our favor for him to come back and have that thing straight. 2 weeks is a big deal when you have a tweaked knee like that. 2 weeks is huge to be able to put some more ice on it, get some more sound on it, and get some more compressed and let the trainers work with you for another whole week. That's a big deal when you're trying to come back.
Yeah. Well,
so it came at a good time.
All right, we're going to take a break, but we will be back, and we'll tell you how you can hang out with the superstar, and you can hang out with Chuck Foreman. We've got some places where these guys are going to make an appearance. We'll talk about that. Cam Akers, Aaron Jones, is that the backfield that can get it done for the Vikings? We'll get Chuck's opinion on that since he knows those running backs more than anybody else. Bob Sansevier will join us in a bit, and we will take a break. This is the Jimbob Sports Jamboree with Vikings legend Chuck Foreman, presented by 10K Construction. Welcome back to the Jimbob Sports Jamboree with Vikings legend Chuck Foreman and the superstar Mike Morris. Bob Sansevier will join us in a bit. And we are brought to you by 10K Construction. Minnesota is the land of 10K Construction. Get your house ready to go for winter. Call Jake or just go to his website, 10kconstruction.com, and you can chat with them there. And also, we are presented by Experience Maple Grove. It's MEA week. They got a great deal now. Book a hotel room, get a $75 gift certificate to go out and dine at the restaurant capital of Minnesota. All right, gentlemen, we talked about Cam Akers coming in here. Aaron Jones, we looked up his stats. He has only played 2 full seasons in the NFL out of his career. So the Vikings going out, getting Cam Akers. Right now, he's listed as week to week by head coach Kevin O'Connell as Aaron Jones, although he's already back out on the practice field. So he could be out there Sunday against the Lions. Chuck, you're the running back expert. You know Akers from last year. What do you think about bringing him back to the fold?
I thought it was a good move. I think Cam Akers, when healthy, he can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He can do everything you need to do. He's a really fine player. And, of course, Aaron Jones, you know what he brings every Sunday. And the thing is, he brings it so much that sometimes he gets a little nick here and there. So I think the depth at the running back position is always a plus if you want to move on, and win in the NFL. If you got that running back room that's got depth, it allows you to continue to do and run the offense that you know is going to be successful for you.
Well, and Mike, I think that's the big key of why Sam Darnold has been so good here is that Jones is a threat that defenses have to keep an eye on, thus making it so he doesn't have to throw. He throws when he wants to throw.
Yeah, I mean, he can pick and choose what he wants to do. It's not just a running back that you can turn around and hand off to. There are some people that are not worried about. If they turn around and hand off, it's just because, they're trying to keep you honest to the run, but they're not going to do any damage with the run. But Aaron Jones will do damage to you, and they have to respect that. They have to be in a defense that can get him stopped, or it'll just move the chains all day. And Darnold can pick and choose and continue to learn the system and the O'Connell way of doing things the way he has up until now. But now you bring into the mix not only Chandler, but Cam Akers. So, I mean, he's just a sort of a short 5'10", 220 pounds almost of running back. I mean, that is a problem. It's a low center of gravity with a lot of weight, and here he comes. And like Chuck said, he's got a little, juke about him. He's got good hands. He can do a little of everything. So, I mean, why not add a guy like that to the stable? And you're covered. You're covered. And Darnold feels good about that too, I'm sure.
Well, and Chuck, he, I think, fits the mold of a running back that you want to see. You bring it up often. It's almost a pet peeve for you. Running backs that get to the line and get happy feet and dance around and look for a hole. Akers and Jones, they basically pick where they're going, and that's it.
They don't waste any time, that's for sure. When they see the hole, that's where they go to, and that's the kind of guy you need in this particular offense. That's the guy you need anyway. But a lot of guys get there, and they get in the middle of the hole, and then they start tap dancing, and that's not a good thing. What we needed guys, like I said before, was kind of like what I call anyway a hit it and split kind of guy. You see it and you go and you're gone. And I think he's one of those kind of guys. So it was a good move for the Vikings to bring him in, even though I think the running back room is deep.
Right.
It's always good to have another explosive guy in there that can come in and make big plays for you.
Yeah, Ty Chandler has shown that he can contribute, but if Jones can't go for an extended period of time, you need more than that. Gaskins, I don't think, is quite there yet to be a every down back at this point. Speaking of good moves, how about hanging out with Mr. Foreman this weekend, October 20th at Sippy's Pub and Grub? You can watch the Vikings and the Lions game with Chuck right there.
Right there on the water.
All right, and so when people show up there, you're there about half hour before kickoff, right?
Yeah, between 45 minutes and half an hour before kickoff, we get set up and get our things laid out, meet the people at the bar, of course, obviously. And, we have memorabilia for sale. We do that, and we talk about the game coming up and the players in the game and the team that we're playing, all that kind of good stuff.
All right, so check out Chuck there down in Winona. Just if you need more information, look at his social media. He's on X, he's on Facebook, Instagram, Brady. Oh, there, punch yourself up on camera so we can see you back there. There he is back there.
Here, let me punch Brady up.
ChuckForeman44.com is that website, and that is Sunday down in Winona. And then, how about this? The Superstar.
That's where the fans are going to be really happy. Going to see the long snapper. I mean, they are excited. I can tell you right, I feel the buzz around town right now.
So you've got to get your tickets early. This will be November 10th. You and Hall of Famer Paul Krause. I don't know how you convinced Paul to invite you to his garage, but he has done that, and you will be there. You can watch the game with Mr. Krause and the Superstar.
You see, it's like we're like a barn down there that he's got converted into a really nice like man cave. But the cool thing about it is it's much like the state fair, where you can go through the barn and he'll have me in like a stall that they keep the hogs in, and you can just stop off and see me and like throw me some corn.
There you go.
And then just keep moving on with Mr. Krause and the other football players, and you can go see the game and enjoy the good food and stop by and see me too. And you'll have a little machine where you can buy bags of corn.
Yes, it's like one of those you put the quarters in, you turn the crank, and you get some food, and you throw it into the stall at you. Yeah. If you'd like to know more information about that, and after that pitch, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, you want to see that.
SuperstarMikeMorris.com is the website for that information. All right, Chuck, what does this game come down to against the Lions? In your mind, what is the one aspect? I know there's obviously multiple things and that have to happen, but what do the Vikings need to do?
The team that makes the fewest mistakes, as always, is going to win this game. No question about it, because both teams are physical. Both teams, offensively are really competitive. They got some good things going on, on both sides of the ball. But to me, it's going to be who's going to make the key plays at the right time. And the team that makes the fewest mistakes is going to win.
Yeah, O'Connell has been fantastic at that. His career record is like now 21-0 or something like that when he either ties or wins the turnover battle.
Yeah, can't have big turnovers, that's for sure.
Mr. Morris?
That's a big one. That is a big one. And I think it's just cashing in on opportunities in the red zone, not settling for field goals. But these two teams will play. You could always safely say that Detroit and Minnesota will play a close game. It's always been that way. It's always been that way.
So, even when they were rotten.
Even when they're rotten and we're great, and it just doesn't matter. There's a good likelihood that you'll split. Right. You'll split between the two games that you play. But even now, and now more than ever. I mean, this will be a close, hard-fought football game. Detroit is real, and they're coming to get a Super Bowl ring. They should have been in last year. They kind of squandered one against the 49ers, I thought, that cost them being in the Super Bowl last year. But that's how good they are. And they deserve to be where they're at right now. But because Campbell has changed everything there. The whole thing they're buying in, like we talked about. But it is the mistakes. It's the turnovers and mental mistakes, just drawing flags, being offsides all the time. That won't win. That will not win. You've got to move the chains, take the time up off the clock, score touchdowns, not field goals, and you have a better chance to win.
Over under how many times Campbell will go for it on 4th down on Sunday?
I mean, he's aggressive. He's aggressive. He plays the stats, and the stats always lean toward go for it. You know, and I think he will probably 100% be going for it on. I mean, that's how you beat good teams.
Right.
You never give them the ball back. You just tried to always control the football.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. And how much could Hawkinson, if the Vikings put him out there, how much can he elevate this offense, Chuck?
I don't know how much they're going to incorporate him into the offensive scheme this week. I'm sure they'll just, they'll try to incorporate some of the stuff that he can do because he's one of the better tight ends in the game when he's healthy. So that's going to be another weapon that we have that we can use. So that should make the offense a little bit better because now they're going to have to. With a guy like that's got that reputation, they've got to kind of like at least put a spy on him or something.
Right.
To keep him honest. And so that can open up something else for somebody else to do. So whether it's a run or a different passing, attack. But he's definitely going to be a difference maker.
All right. Well, gentlemen, we appreciate it. We will see what happens on Sunday. And don't forget, you can hang out with Chuck down in Winona. So check him out at Sippy's Pub and Grub. Around 11:30, he'll be showing up. Get yourself settled for the game. And people can ask you questions, right? No problem. You're just sitting there talking the game, pointing things out.
I'll be going
it's
around
a unique
from table
experience,
to table
right?
and all that stuff. I'll sit down and talk to them about the game as it's going on. So we'll have a lot of fun.
But you're not like some of those guys that just walk in and kind of wave to the crowd, then get back in your Polk-mobile and head back to the Twin Cities.
I kind of like to hang out.
All right, it is. I've heard from people that have been to your events. They are first class and very well done. And I know Viking fans appreciate you sharing your time. And Star, you're getting into this now as well. Our fans are really going to enjoy it.
He better be right.
I hope to be right. I don't expect to be totally what Chuck does, but I'll play. I'll go out and play lawn darts. I don't care, whatever it takes. And I will be there in the stall. That's November 10th, though.
Correct.
We're
Against
talking about
Jacksonville.
This week
It's all Chuck in Winona. All right, that'll do it for this segment. We'll be back with much more. You're listening to the Jimbob Sports Jamboree, presented by 10K Construction and Experience Maple Grove.
I want to say thank you to all of our listeners and our radio partners, KXRA in Alexandria, KRWC in Buffalo, KDHL in Faribault and Owatonna, KDAL and WDSM in Duluth, WNMT in Hibbing, KTOE in Mankato, AM 660 The Bear, WBHR in St. Cloud, and Wild 102 FM in Roseau. Also, KWOA AM FM in Worthington, and KKBJ in Bemidji, and Bob Total Country serving the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and surrounding areas. We'll talk to you later.